Hey everybody, this is Tracy here for another edition of A View from Tracy's Point, and we are here to recap Real Housewives of Atlanta Season 10, Episode 4, which was titled All White Never Forget Showdown. And yes, I have on the same clothes that I had on for the episode 3 recap because I'm trying to get caught up on these shows that I hope to have it done by the end of the day. So we open up with Nene. So Greg is back home from the hospital and tells Nene that it was a scary situation because he really didn't feel well. And so he says that his heart I think he said it would stop beating for a few seconds. And it's the same thing that his father died from. So Greg thanked Nene for picking him up. I thought was odd because who else was going to pick you up from the hospital? Greg. So they talk about, his ordeal and shares that there was no blockage. I guess they did the thing where they shoot the dye into the arteries or something. So he doesn't have any blockage, but he does have an irregular heartbeat. So he wants to get healthy and have Nene see some cardiologists with him. Once again, she's your wife, so I hope she would be going to these doctor's appointments to see what's going on. And so he jokingly tells Nene that she may be the cause of his heart problems thanks to her tricks in the bedroom. Like, TMI, Greg. I don't want that visual of you and Nene getting busy. So Nene, I thought, didn't look bad without makeup. She didn't have on any makeup, and I thought she was actually prettier without the makeup than she is with the makeup on. And so I don't know, because even I think throughout this episode we saw Nene without makeup. We saw Sheree doesn't really wear a lot of makeup, but I think Cynthia, there was a scene where Cynthia didn't have on makeup, and then there might have been a scene, I think it was Candy, but Candy didn't look all that hot without her makeup on. But Cynthia and Nene could definitely go without makeup and still be just as beautiful as they are with the makeup on. So Nene's friend, Monique, comes by. Y'all remember Monique from a couple of episodes ago. I think she was the one. Was she the one married to the guy that Phaedra used to mess with or something? But I know she's been on the show before. So after Nene fills her in about Greg's health scare, Nene says that she wants to have an all-white girls and gays party at her house. And I don't know about the gay community, but I was highly offended by that party theme and was surprised that as Nene kept sharing the information throughout the show, that nobody else was like, girl, now you know you're wrong for that, and that is not appropriate for you to do. I was so happy when Derek J showed up for the party and he finally brought it to the light that it was, somewhat offensive. So then Nene's friend Brandon shows up, and I don't remember meeting Brandon or seeing Brandon before. And he asks Nene, Portia is invited to the party, but Nene says no. And so both Monique and Brandon suggest that Nene meets with Portia because Portia's a really nice girl, and they need to make up and stop with the pettiness. And I say that about all of them. So Nene strongly disagrees and reveals that Portia texted her and asked her for a sit down, but she never responded to Portia. And then she gives them a quick, recap of what happened, with the whole Candy and Phaedra and Portia saga. And, so we all know that whole story. And then she added that she's going to get, what did she say? That Portia's going to get pinned up by the wall for effing with Nene Leakes. And I was just like, okay, Nene. So to change the subject, Nene gets up and starts going around the backyard, telling them where everything is going to be set up, for this party that she's having. So then we move over to Sheree. So Sheree counselor Jack Daniels, he stops by Sheree's house for their second session, and Cairo answers the door, so they introduce themselves. And so Sheree, excuses herself and the counselor, and they go into another room. And so she tells the counselor that she's been practicing to tell her kids, what happened with Bob. So she admits that she's ashamed to tell her children, but keep in mind these children are grown. I think the youngest girl getting ready to head off to Howard University. So, Sheree, I don't know why you're making a big issue out of this, but anyway, Jack Daniels says that it would be good for her to be honest as possible with them and get it over with as quickly as possible. So we're not going to talk about this no more. So the coalition of, I think it's the National Coalition of Domestic Violence, has reached out to Sheree to speak at an event, but the Jack Daniels guy tells her that she needs to talk with her kids first before she starts doing speaking engagements. Which makes sense, because if you're flying all over the world talking about domestic violence between you and your kids, you was part of a domestic violence situation, that doesn't make any sense. So he gives her some more homework and tells her to go on the vacation so she can cut down on her anxiety and relax and figure out how she's going to talk to these kids. So y'all, why does Sheree's yard always look dry and patchy? I mean, like right now, my yard is looking dry and patchy because my neighbor has a fungus in her yard, and the fungus is coming over into my yard. I'm doing everything I can to fight it. But I don't live in no big old mansion like Sheree live in. I live in a little ranch-style house in St. Petersburg, Florida. But Sheree's yard, I mean, like the grass is always cut, but it just doesn't look like she has a lawn care company that's coming and planting flowers and maintaining the shrubbery. Does she even have any, like she doesn't have greenery surrounding her house. It's like her house is just in the middle of a field and they go out there and mow the lawn and that's all that's getting done to the yard. Have y'all noticed that, or is it just me being picky? So later on, Sheree and Kenya get together and they catch up at a spin class. So now, did y'all know this? Sheree appeared to have gotten a pair of shoes from behind the counter. You know how people be at the bowling alley and you rent the bowling shoes, or you go to the skating rink and you rent the skates. Well, it looked like Sheree rented some shoes for the spin class, which I did not understand. And then when they got through with the spin class, why did Sheree and Kenya walk out the place with the people's shoes on? So I don't know what that was all about. I really don't know, but spin class is fun. I can't say that. So Kenya says that she's happy to be on better terms with Sheree and thanks her for being so supportive of her new marriage and, you know, believing that she's really married. And so she tells Sheree that she is working on a public service announcement for domestic violence. And Sheree says that she's down for the cause. And I'm just thinking, like, neither one of y'all could talk to me about domestic violence. It's like, it just, I don't know how they get to be the spokesperson, the spokespeople for domestic violence, but we're going to roll with it. So Sheree tells Kenya that she wants to do it, but the National Coalition of Domestic Violence asks her to be an ambassador, so she has to make sure that there is no conflict of interest. And the camera kind of zoomed in on Kenya. Kenya was looking like, what? Like, she was kind of hurt that Sheree had gotten that opportunity. So they get a text message from Nene inviting them to her all-white party, you know, so of course they, you know, planning that they're going to go ahead and attend this party. So then we move over to Candy. So Candy is heading to New York to do a photo shoot for the cover of Essence magazine. And as can be expected, she is extremely excited, you know, about the opportunity, and says that this is something that she has wanted for a long time because only A-list celebrities can land on the cover. So I don't know how true that is, Candy, because I think I've seen some folks on the cover of Essence that were not A-list celebrities, but we're gonna roll with this because we're happy for you. So Candy, you know, doesn't like leaving her kids behind. I think she done brought this up in every episode so far, you know. But when she was sitting in the house and they was trying to get all the stuff together because they need to pack for this trip, Riley was weighing that little boy named Ace. She had Ace on her hip. You know how the women be out at the mall and stuff and they had that baby on the hip. Riley was wearing Ace on her hip like a professional, like she might be the one that's actually taking care of Ace and doing everything for him, because Ace was holding on to Riley like she was the mama instead of Candy. So Don Juan shows up to help Candy pack, pack her things since Carmen is no longer her assistant. and he lets them know that somehow, some ways, somewhere the ball got dropped and they don't have a hotel room. So Candy was like, I know you joking. And he was like, I'm sorry, I'm not joking. There are no hotel rooms available. I guess something big was going on in New York during that time. So then Candy joked and said, well, call Trump Towers, because I know they got plenty of vacancies since ain't nobody going up in there since Donald Trump became president. So Candy, lets Don Juan know that she understands that, he's doing multiple jobs, but they got to get together and come up, with a plan to get a new assistant in place, because she can't be going places without her travel arrangements not being finalized. So once they get in New York, Candy's getting styled for her Essence cover, and it's interesting how everyone is being, and I just thought it was interesting, because I think that was the scene where Candy didn't have any makeup on, so they were in there doing her makeup and her hair and everything. And so Candy tells us once again, how she hates being away from her kids. We got it, Candy. We understand now. But despite that, she's excited to have reached another milestone in her career. And Todd is there. You can just see Todd, and he genuinely looked like he was so proud of Candy and so excited for her in that moment. And so this I think like the last episode was really mild, and this episode, it was kind of mild, and just seeing the ladies in more of a relaxed and just not that catch, just being catty with one another. It was a good look to see, and like I said, I was happy for Candy because I was happy for Candy, because like I said, that's something that she's really wanted, and that's a big accomplishment. Anytime anybody obtains a goal, that they've set out for themselves, you can't help but celebrate with them. When then Candy found out that the actual issue that she was going to be photographed for was an issue on confidence, and so that made her feel even better, that they saw her as a confident Black woman, who's reached her goals, and the sky's the limit for her. So I was like, all right, Black girl magic, how about that, Candy? But then I got to thinking, I wonder if Bravo had anything to do with Candy getting that cover, or did she really get it on her own? So then we move over to Portia. So Portia's cousin Tiffany comes over, and then shortly after, Lauren shows up and rings the doorbell. And I'm like, Lauren, why you ringing the doorbell? I thought you lived there. But I guess Lauren had packed up her stuff and moved out after her and Portia had that little disagreement. So Lauren hasn't been sleeping at Portia's place since they, like I said, had that big blow up. And so Portia has invited her over to talk things out, and Tiffany is going to be the mediator. And then also there's this guy that's been hanging around at Portia's house, so we find out that that's Portia's new personal assistant. So I guess Lauren isn't the personal assistant anymore. I don't know what was going on with that situation, so we'll get me started. So did y'all see the fake hug that Lauren gave Portia when she came in the house, and then how she rolled her eyes? Like while she was hugging Portia, she was like rolling her eyes, when they stepped back. I was like, Lauren, you really is not in a position, because everything you got, you being on that show, that's Portia. What Portia trying to do with these hair salons and stuff, that so many opportunities. You just got to be a little more grateful, little girl. When they sit down to talk, Lauren tells Portia that she was having a bad day, and that is why she was so upset at the business meeting. Then she also explains that she's almost 30 years old, and she wants to get more serious about her career. And so I guess she's just feeling the anxiety of breaking up with a boyfriend, being a mom, and then just seeing her sister blossom and have so much success, and she kind of just not feeling good about herself. And I'm thinking like, Lauren, you might have been having a bad day, but what came out your mouth was really your true feelings. So you and Portia might need to go to sister counseling to work through your jealousy issues, because that ain't gonna work no way, no how. So Portia believes that she's created an environment where Lauren has become afraid to talk to her, so that makes her sad, because, she doesn't want to be that person, and she wants, her and Lauren to be open and loving with each other. So Portia tells Lauren that she's always there for her, and Lauren starts to cry, and then she worries that Portia will one day hire someone from the outside to help her, who is more qualified than she is. And then Portia hugs her and tells her that that will never happen and that she always got her back. But this is my advice to you, Lord. Anytime you think somebody else can come in and take your spot, that means that you need to improve yourself. You need to step your game up, because as they said in Love and Basketball, don't ever let a freshman come in and take your spot. So if you're feeling insecure, you need to deal with those insecurities. Maybe you need to go take some college courses or something, but do something to show Portia that she doesn't need to look outside and bring somebody else in that has more experience. So like I said, they hug it out, and Portia tells her to go get Bailey and come on back home. They can't be living out there in the streets. So then we move over to Cynthia. So Nene calls Cynthia, to give her an update on Greg. But Cynthia, was getting ready to meet Will to get some ice cream. So she wasn't trying to be getting in a long drawn out conversation with Nene. So she rushed Nene off the phone, so she can go be goo-goo-eyed with Will. So Will tells her that his phone has been ringing off the hooks because bloggers are calling and stories in the blogs, about their relationship. And then Cynthia, agrees that it's annoying and people already think that, they're a couple. But I don't understand these men getting in these relationships with these women that are on reality TV shows and don't think that they are going to be the topic of discussion. Like, that is so stupid to even be interjecting that. And even though he said that he was a little irritated by it, he did have a smile on his face, so I don't know how irritated he was. And then Cynthia doesn't even know how to do a fist bump, because he went to do this and Cynthia did this. So she was like, oh, okay, I'm sorry, I get it. I was like, Lord, somebody help her. And did Will ask Cynthia when was he gonna be able to come to Lake Bailey? Like, what are you trying? Like, every ladies. Every man you meet don't need to know where you live and don't need to know what the inside of your house look like. So I thought that was so inappropriate for him to be trying to come to her house already. Like, I just thought that was really inappropriate. And then Cynthia, she kind of like gave him the side eye, but then she tells him that soon if things continue to progress between them. I was like, man, you got a lot of doggone nerve. So it's the day of Nene's party, and Lord, Nene is getting ready for the party. Like, all the servers are tatted up, shirtless guys, and I'm assuming that since it's a girls and gays party that these guys might be gay. I don't know. It was some cute boys over there in that house, some little boy toys, but I don't know. I don't know. Did y'all think they were all gay, or did you think it was a mixture, or like what y'all thought was going on? So Marlo is the first one to arrive, and they are screaming and carrying on. And so Nene says that they haven't talked in a few years, and I'm taking it that this was the first time Marlo had been at Nene's house. But she said that they ran into each other at the mall and they made up after they talked things out. And I thought, okay, well, how convenient was that, so that Marlo can, come back on the show. So Nene admits that she was upset about Marlo befriending Kenya, but they decided to bury the hatchet and pick up from where they left off. And so when Marlo asked what was going on with Portia, I don't know why everybody worried about Nene and Portia, like Nene and Portia were like best friends or anything. So they had like a few episodes a couple of seasons ago where they were forming a friendship, but it wasn't like Portia and Phaedra's relationship. Like, nobody's asking her about Phaedra's, her relationship with Phaedra. It's all about Nene. So maybe Phaedra told them don't mention her name on the show. So Nene makes it clear that she's not interested in discussing Portia, but everybody wants to shade Portia. So I don't understand. So over at Kim's house, Sheree arrives for the two to attend Nene's party. So the party was girls and gays. So each girl was to invite a gay friend. So Sheree says that Nene doesn't know that she's bringing Kim. And Kim is nervous that Nene may not be thrilled to see her. But Sheree justifies Kim being there as her plus one because I guess 15 years ago, Sheree did an interview where she admitted to being bisexual at one point in time in her life. So that qualified her to be a gay friend of Sheree to bring to this party. So Kim then says that she saw Nene out shopping one day at Sykes, but they didn't speak to each other. And then she showed Sheree a picture that she took of Nene where Nene was parked in a handicapped spot. And I'm like, who does that? Like you didn't have time to speak, but you had time to pull out your camera and take a picture of her illegally parked. Like petty, petty, petty. So Sheree tells Kim, about her counseling sessions and says that she is planning a trip to San Francisco as part of her homework and will be inviting all the ladies. And so Kim says that she's in, but then the conversation turns to Kenya's marriage. And Kim says that she doesn't believe that Kenya is really, really married. Well, Kim, I don't think many of us believe that Kenya is married. We just playing along with it for the sake of the show. So back at Nene's, Derek J arrives with Cynthia, but he expresses to her that he doesn't like the theme of the party. And he says that it's kind of like your white friend saying, bring your best black friend. And that was my exact thought, Derek J. I can't believe that none of the other women were offended by that comment. I just really cannot believe that. So the two are going over, the guest list. And Cynthia mentions Portia, wasn't invited. So the scene goes over to Portia's house, and her and Lauren are sitting up playing with Portia's wig. Like they're inspecting the wigs and everything, and it just raised the point to me again, like, does Portia sell weave? I don't know. Just the whole hair salon thing, I just don't know how any of this is going to play out. Because would you sell your wigs in the salon where people are getting their hair done? Like, I don't understand. So anyway, back at the party, Kenya arrives and asks Cynthia about the blog stories about Will. And when Nene comes over, Cynthia tells her that Derek J was offended by the theme of the party. So their conversation is interrupted after everyone sees Kim entering the party with Sheree. So inside, Kim turns up her face and questions if Nene's AC is working properly. And I'm like, come on, y'all, knock it off, please. And then she throws shade, at the red Solo cups that they're using and saying that, she bring her own cup and that's the only cup she drink out of. And I'm just like, who does this? So Nene gets up to go greet Kim and Sheree, and then Lisa Wu, remember she used to be on the show like when it first started. She walks in and she's greeted by the group, and Lord Marlo points out that Sheree's shirt, Sheree had a thing on her shirt. It was like a dog with a bone, talking about the bone carrier. It's just funny. So I guess Sheree gonna be selling them t-shirts. All the ladies go in the house, to cool off and catch up on things, but it gets tense when Marlo brings up Kenya's marriage. So typical, so predictable. So Marlo asks Kenya, when she will be able to meet Mark. And then for some reason, Kim gets nasty and decides to say, it ain't gonna happen, bitch, because he doesn't effing exist. And I'm like, oh, Jesus, like, why? Why was that even necessary? Like, Kim went to 10. She went from 0 to 100 at this party the same way she did at Sheree's housewarming party. It was just so trumped up, so unnecessary. But I guess she earning that check and she gonna do whatever she got to do. And I just can't even believe that the producers let Kim come on the show and just talk to people any kind of way. But that has always been the case. Like, Kim is the only white woman I know that can come on the show that's predominantly black and just show her natural bone ass and don't nobody say nothing. So Kim, blurts out, that it's all a bunch of lies, just a bunch of BS. And then Kenya, finally breaks and takes some digs at Kim and tell her to shut the F up. And, why do you have such a hard, what she said, why do you have such a hard on for me? And didn't they cut it off during your reassignment surgery? Girl, it was some shit. Like, y'all just being so stupid, oh yeah, and then she repeated, why do you have a hard on? So I guess she was trying to imply that Kim is a transsexual or something, used to be a man and got a penis cut off. Petty and stupid, petty and stupid. So Kenya then says that the nastiness is why Mark has no interest in meeting the women in the group. And so they get into, the usual nasty back and forth, throwing jabs at each other. And then Kenya brings up that Brielle, Kim's daughter, offered to give John Legend a blowjob in exchange for some concert tickets. So I don't know if it was like a promotion going on where they asked, what would you do for the concert tickets? Or if Brielle just out of the blue made this post on social media about the tickets, but things went way left after that. And so the screen turned to black. It faded to black and said to be continued. So hopefully it don't drag on too much longer in the next episode, because I'm really not here for it. So guys, what did you think about this episode? Leave your comments below, rate the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Share the video on your social media platform. And until the next time, I shall talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.